All right, good afternoon. It's the beginning of December, December 6th, and excited to have you with me as we kind of close out 2022 with a bang. And I just wanted to get into a little bit about how we're gonna get some activity and sales during a slow season. Because not only is it seasonally very slow in December historically, but we're dealing with something abnormal with this market right now, where it's also very slow since pretty much ever since the last 3 or 4 months in real estate nationwide. And a lot of that has to deal with the rising rates that really exponentially increased ever since May of 2022. We've noticed a huge, dramatic increase where people were customers for the 30-year conventional were getting above 7%, seven and a quarter for 30-year fixed loans. And that has created a huge dampening of activity. Not many people are motivated or incentivized to try to purchase at historically very high rates. So it's been very slow for the last 5 months for many realtors in the industry right now. And I thought I'd kind of kick off and end 2022 with some ideas, some suggestions and tips to really increase your business and volume and activity because there's still activity going on, just less of it. So my one of my first purpose of this today's class is to give you some ideas where to find the activity that is going on. So when we look at the market, we have to kind of mix and kind of adapt ourselves and who we are prospecting, targeting, and try to target people who have a kind of a more of a need right now. Okay. And so just to give you a few ideas, I would suggest there's some good sources of motivated sellers and buyers, and I'll give you some ideas for both where we can find them. Okay, so for the motivated sellers, what I probably say is to suggest is people are still needing to sell if they have a job relocation. Usually, if there's a some sort of loss or some sort of passing in the family, a financial reason like a loss of job, or and this is a great tip is for the working expired listings. Okay, so those areas of how we're going to find these people is in multi there's a lot of different variety of ways to find them. So obviously death in the family, there are ways to find them. So you're going to have to either a know an attorney or a probate attorney would be very good to try to prospect probate attorneys and let them know, hey, I do this, I'm working, I'm active. Do you have any clients that can use my services? Please pass along my information to any potential probates that you're dealing with. I'm an expert in San Gabriel Valley. I would love to do a free consultation to any recommendations or referrals that you may provide, and can also incentivize you as the referring attorney. If you know anybody who may want a free consultation, I'll be happy to share a referral. Just give me a call or let me know if you want to discuss anything further. Okay, you don't have to put an exact dollar amount in writing, but you try to send these out to different attorneys. Um, People that are in that arena, mortuary services, and people who are in planning funerals and kind of that industry, you would also try to target them, network with them, and try to see if they can help you get some information on those as well. I mean, another area I talked about where people have job relocation is to track movement of companies. And you can target, for example, like when you know there is an Amazon or a Google or an Apple store that is closing down or relocating, you could try to target those areas where there's a lot of job movement going on. So there's a lot of movement going on in San Bernardino. There's a lot of stuff in Ontario area, Chino Hills. In our region, we don't have a lot of those big industry areas, but you could check out and find a lot of companies are starting to kind of move out of California. So I would try to target some of those if you can, but those are harder to find. So the other ways I was telling you is to work people who are basically working expireds. And there's a strategy in doing this. So I'm going to pull up my MLS system and teach you a method and try to help you kind of figure out how to find potential deals, motivated people. Typically, motivated sellers who have their property on the market for quite some time um, are probably having a mindset. One is they're frustrated. They're disappointed in their prior listing agent. They're frustrated in the market. The offer activity that they've gotten is disappointing, and they might be angry as well. Okay. Your job is to come in and be with the mindset of being the savior, to say, hey, that's not me. I didn't do that job, but the market, I recognize the market was tough in the last 5 months, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, but I'm here to kind of guide you to hopefully not just advertise your property on the listing. I'm not here to list your property. I'm here to sell your property. And the difference between myself and any other is that I give my full heart, my whole heart, my attention, my focus until your property sells. I will be actively working your property um, so that so that we can get this and hit your goals of selling it soon. How am I going to do that? Well, one of the first and foremost things we have to do is to have a plan. Okay. And I would like to come and share my plan with you. I need to do a little bit of homework. Okay. Before I spend time building that unique plan cater to your situation and your property, I just want to make sure I have an appointment with you. So that way I will make and spend this time on your behalf. Okay. So what I like to do, just to give you a taste, is I'll really go to the property. I'll inspect and let you know what are some preparation ideas and tips prior to listing with myself. What things that we can do, small things that will really enhance the experience. Number two is my marketing. And then I'll explain to you about how my marketing is different than everyone else's and what we will do differently than your past listing agent, perhaps. But thirdly, what I want to do is really understand uh, this neighborhood, exactly what the comps are going to be selling and what kind of active listings we're competing against. And then we're going to cater a specific plan against our direct competition. But a lot of this is very hard to explain over the phone, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. I want to show you my what I do in person. Do you have time next week around Monday or Wednesday, perhaps 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock, the morning or afternoon? What's better for you? Okay. How's your schedule like next week? And I ask them for an appointment. Okay. Because I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these properties unless I have an appointment booked with the seller. So if that conversation goes well, um, I would target expires and I only target the people that are willing to meet with me. Okay. Because when you're dealing with an expired, you are probably going to be dealing with somebody who is um, what you call frustrated and angry. Remember, number two, they've probably received 10 different, 20 different phone calls from other realtors who are working expireds. Okay. So if that's the situation when they're getting multiple calls from nowhere, they might be kind of short tempered and they also might be very screening their calls. So that is why your initial 30 seconds needs to be important to gain their attention span and not dismiss you immediately like they're going to dismiss so many other realtors. So one of my strategies that I'll share with you is to pulse the market and call them with a different approach. Okay, don't just say, hey, I noticed your property is expired. Can I list your property? That's not going to work. You need a different approach. So your script that you're using could be many-fold. Okay. One of the scripts that I use is I can say that I am a market expert in the city of, and I'll give whatever city they're in. I am a market specialist, and I'm really working and focused on understanding the Covina market. And in Covina area, I've noticed that there's 40 homes on the market right now. And I also identified that your property didn't sell in the last 5 months. But seller, what I'm doing is I'm trying to figure out a survey of what you felt about your property and this market, because I'm really trying to build some marketing pieces for for the sellers that want to work with me. I'm really giving them great content on what's going on in the Covina area. Number one, did just in the course of your 4 months of your listing, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you know, what is the number one reason you think that your property did not sell? Oh, really? It's the interest rates? Okay, I understand. Now, I get the interest rates were high and people were getting, and the financing is very difficult. What is the second and third reasons you think that your property did not sell? Typically, they're going to say it's their listing agent, or typically going to say that it's too many repairs, or they're going to say something like the escrows fell apart, or their agent was lazy. They're going to complain about something. Okay. That's when you get that feedback, if you get the feedback, you're going to use this to your advantage. So you're going to show in your solutions when you meet with them that you're going to address all of those gripes and concerns and disappointments that they previously experienced. You're going to cater the presentation that you're going to make with them next week to address exactly those issues. Okay. So you have to be a great listener. You have to be able to understand and ask some follow-up questions. Yes, I hear that you said your open house was very limited. You didn't get a lot of activity. So, seller, did your listing agent reverse prospect your listings? Did they ask you and let everyone know that you had a price reduction, 2 times? Okay. Did they actually send your property to the caravan to promote it to the realtors and brokers who are actively working? Because oh, you don't know what that is? Let me explain that to you, because I'm a different realtor. I do a full service and I make sure my listings are exposed, advertised, and done right. Let me explain to you about what caravan is. Let me explain to you what reverse prospecting is. Let me explain to you how a price reduction should be potentially um, how it's advertised, and I spin it a different way. I call it a price improvement. Okay, we all get it in this market that interest rates are very high. But I don't know if your other agent knew this or not, but I have a great program that your property qualifies for. It's called the Eagle Community Home Buying Program. And maybe your prior agent didn't know, but I have resources available through my network that first let me show it to you really quickly. And I would probably go ahead and show them what I have, which is regarding my Eagle program email that I emailed all of you Dynasty agents last week. And First Republic Bank is offering a really attractive program called 3.79% interest rate to all of the buyers for 30 years. And this is property, your property qualifies for this. I already checked the address with my agent, my lender, and the buyer also gets closing cost credits of up to $4,000. This program is a super attractive program because everyone thinks that they're paying 7% or 6.75%. But when I get to meet with these buyers, introduce this program to them, that I believe, and this has worked for many of my past open houses of other listings, where the buyers can afford more when their rate is almost cut in half. Their buying power increases tremendously. And usually, if I can overcome the fear and the concern that the buyers have, which is the cost and the financing, if I can overcome that fear, then I can get them to love your home and offer you that price. That is the strategy I want to share with you. You know, you can only get this program by working with, I want to introduce this program to you. So I want to meet with you and show it to you. And we can even call this lender and ask any details if you have any doubts. Because I first originally was skeptical about this program, but it is true. I have clients going through it right now and they're under 4% rate. They did not even charge them a high amount of points or fees. It's very, very reasonable in the terms. They just need to make sure this address qualifies in their in the target areas that First Republic is targeting. But I've already done that homework for you. Your address qualifies. So when I had that kind of taste, I've introduced a different approach that I can guarantee you no other realtor agent is probably spinning it this way to that expired listing. And I've addressed the concern of the number one that they said was financing. I've overcome it with a solution already. Okay. So that's one possibility. I'm giving you a script to work in the next, from now to the end of the month, because I don't know if this program is going to last for another month. Okay. This is always subject to change, but maybe they'll continue it, or maybe it'll be something a little bit around there. So who knows? So if you like that script or if you like something like this, you know, you can come in with a different approach too. This is just to address the financing concern, which is different. But if you want to address it through the marketing approach, you know, I would address it and look at the prior marketing and see what I would enhance and do much better. So what's an example of that? So let's go ahead and go back into my screen share. I'm going to pull up my MLS and search for expired listings in the last 180 days of single families and in our example, we're picking Covina. And I'm just going to pick 2+ bedrooms and I want to look at the results. So I noticed in Covina, there's 17 expireds that are single family. I mean, I could expand this search all I wanted if it was condos and townhouses, but you can do and target what you want to target. For me, I want to target single families because to me, I have a stronger ability. I think they're priced better. And so I want, when I work my prospecting, I want to make it worthwhile to my time. The first thing I might do is to create what's called the time of on the date. So I sort by date. And December 1st is I'll try to target recently expired first to see, hopefully, this property right here on Bike Grove is one I got to look at, do my studies and find out if it was overpriced or if it was priced right. Okay. Because if it was priced right, then this market tells you is really, really slow. But something's very, very interesting to me. Number one, this property is expired, but it was only exposed for 17 days on the market. So it didn't really get a full exposure or something happened. So I had to look at the private remarks. Home is not vacant. There are dogs. Seller has already identified a home they're interested in. So this is contingent on seller finding a replacement. I'm curious, maybe the seller fell out of their escrow on the concurrent closing. Maybe they changed their mind, or maybe it's still recent enough. Maybe the seller still is motivated to sell. Then I'll look at the marketing and take a look at the property itself. It looks okay. The photography doesn't look that bad. But why do you need 3 living room pictures in a row? Okay, this is kind of redundant. Jung, do you see my photos or no? This is a pop-up.
Yeah, I see your photo.
Okay. So the home looks beautiful. It doesn't look like it's bad maintained. It does look upgraded in some areas. It does look like an owner occupied home versus a tenant occupied home. And I feel this is something that is a candidate for me to call and prospect. So I'm going to go ahead. Now that I've seen their marketing, I've seen their property, they're surrounded by pools. This is a decent neighborhood. And I think I would approach them because this is still 600 a square foot. So I would still approach them and ask them for a meeting. So number one, I would go into the property profile report, get the name. And I know the name here is listed on my screen. And just for the people out there who don't know how to find people's phone numbers, use this website called fastpeoplesearch.com. And for my purposes, I like to go by address, and I'll go ahead and pull up this address at 16668. Okay. And this address is By Grove in Covina. So once I do that, I got to do a little search, and there's a couple of people who report this as their address. There's a Jessica out there, and there is a Felicia, who there's all these different names out here, right? Rodney Zamora, and blah 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 blah. Because I already know, I'm not looking for the renters or the tenants. I want to find um the seller, and I noticed I did a typo. By Grove, it has to be East 1668 East. And by doing that, let me see if that helps anything. East By Grove Street. And that is not working for me because I should have a person named Rashad Robles. So because I don't have that named title owner, because I don't want to spend time talking to a tenant, I'm going to go ahead and change this now to a name search. And now I'm going to change this to the person's name. And I found someone right here. I think this was a rental property. So in this instance, I'd have to do some guessing. And because this person has some past history in Covina, I probably would try calling this 909 phone number first and see if I could reach out. If not, then I'll go ahead and call the other person, Jessica, and see if that Jessica will give me the number for the landlord. Okay. That's one area. So in this instance, I'm not going to be able to confirm up at the beginning the address and time, but again, this is not 100% using this website because some people are harder to find. So assuming I call Rashad, I find them, and I give them a call, I give them my script, I'll work it and try to get a meeting for next week. But I can keep doing this, okay? Because remember, it depends on wherever you're targeting. This particular property sat 90 days, They only had two photos of the property. Half of this photo is this is a really bad photo, is of the street. This doesn't really enhance anything. So this is an old photo of the backyard too. So this is kind of what are they trying to promote? Because this, even though this is a beautiful backyard, they're not showing it off properly. It's a 10,000 lot. It's probably got a nice interior. So what I would probably do is also read the appointments and read the instructions and contact the next one. This property was recently done in November, expired, and I see there's an Alan and Alicia Gilmer, and they currently live in Upland. So this is probably a tenant occupied property. I'm not too sure. So let's go ahead and pull up the address of 818 Ruddock Street, Covina. So I think this is the renter, Michelle Gregory. But I did find Alan Gilmer, and boom, I have his cell phone right here. It matches his tax billing address. So I know exactly who to call right here, 323-810. And for me, that's great. So I can go straight to the source, and I could try to find Alicia if I really wanted to, but I do know that I'm pretty confident that's going to be the number to Alan. Okay. And in the event, and let me teach you one more trick regarding fast people search. So Alan Gilmer lives in Upland. His phone number is right here. And just I see that there's a Alicia Gilmer that's also on title. So I would also look for right here and find Alicia's phone number and I see it right here, 562 number. Okay. So I would try both of those numbers in the event I leave a message and I call the next one, give them my script, and do my best to let them know what I do differently, what I do better, the marketing approach. And it's had 90 days on the market. The price seemed actually lower than the prior one. So this is a little bit more realistic seller. And same thing, I'll teach them about my strategy and plan, about the financing solutions, overcoming the high rates today. And I'll explain to them my marketing differences that are better. And I mean, I'm reading this, they didn't even write a description or they removed it. And I also want to look at the history to give me some background. So this property was originally listed back in August 30th. They put it on hold for some time. They kept on going back and forth, active hold, active hold, active. Why? Okay. I don't know. But never did they ever do a price change. And so that's something that maybe I can discuss or talk to them about and have a discussion regarding, there's a lot of active holds going on. Was there some resistance? Did you have trouble showing the property? This and this and that. But this particular person, if you do your homework like I do, I noticed they helped them back in 2007 and 8. They had it active and then it expired again. So they failed twice, or this is a relative of theirs. And at the end of the day, they bought this property back in 2003. So this same agent has tried multiple times selling their property and failed multiple times. So this is where I kind of give the seller a script. Look, you've tried in 2007. You've tried in 2007 several times. You tried back in August this year. And if you keep trying with the same person and you're not getting the results, each time is giving you the same result, expired listing. So I would maybe suggest, all I can say is you can try something new. I'm a specialist in Covina, and I love the opportunity to earn and build your trust in selling this property. Okay. So that's what I would do if I tried. And then if they say no, you don't have to push or force the issue. Just ask for the appointment, ask and give them some consultation that what you do better, and maybe they'll take a meeting with you because this is a numbers game, guys. Not every seller is gonna welcome you with open arms and want to talk to you. You're gonna have to engage them, ask them to meet, and give them a compelling reason why you're probably a better solution because you have the answers, you have suggestions. Okay, so doing that will help a lot, and you can easily see that I can easily go down this list and have 17 people to call this whole afternoon. And then if you get no results, if you're struggling as a realtor and you need business right away, guess what? You know what you do? Change the city. Go to another area that you're a market specialist in, study that area, and look and call the other section of town. Okay. There's West Covina. There's other cities around that have a lot of expired listings. And I suggest picking areas that are comfortable to you, that are your territory, and that way you can just easily do some what's called preparation work. So usually before I do any calling of prospecting, I do some prep work. What do? I just easily just go straight into um, my options down here, and I want to choose InfoSparks. And we were searching, remember we were searching Covina? Okay. We're let's just say we're searching the city of 91723 Covina, right? So what I do is I put in 91723 as my zip code. Then I also compare it to Covina, California. And I'm looking for, in my illustration, I was asking for single families, all that had I don't really care too much, but I'm just gonna go ahead and put 2, 3, and 4 bedrooms. Okay. And I'm focusing on properties that are single family. And for my purposes, what I want to show and see is a couple of different things. What is the average sales price in November, last month? Well, the average sales price was actually relatively okay. It was 795. It's actually up from the month prior. Yeah, it's up significantly. Um, don't forget the red line represents Covina, the blue line represents the zip code. Okay. Then I'll do a couple of different things. What's the actual price per square foot for the area? And 500 is around the par of what everything is aiming towards per square foot. And the average price per square foot is is 490 to 497. And then I look at how many properties days on market. I've noticed these are slightly climbing up in days on market. And I'll also ask them and look at something called how many times had they had to change their price. So on average, 91723 hasn't even had to change their price too much. Most of them stay the same. So this area doesn't discount a lot. It kind of just holds this value and then it goes what happens. But what happens if you choose a different territory? Let's choose something like Arcadia, California, real quick, just for fun. And I'll choose I'll choose the less desirable area, 91006, 91007, single families. And then I'll also do Arcadia schools because it teaches me a little bit about the area. And then I could do the same thing. Look, on average, this is a significantly different story. 96% of the properties, or a lot of the properties are selling or are going 95 to 96% of its original price on average. So people are discounting about 4%. What is the price per square foot in this region? It's higher. It's 692, 670 to 692 per square foot on average. How about the supply of listings? Okay, supply of listings is relatively stable. It's about almost 4 months of 3.6, 3.8 months of inventory. And I look on days on market, which is also getting scary high in 91007. 40 properties are the 40 days on market is starting to show that it takes very long, almost a month of exposure before it goes under contract. And then I can look at pending sales. Look how few pendings there are. There's nothing much going into escrow recently. And it's a straight downward spiral ever since this is about June, straight downwards since June because the rates are getting got higher. Okay. Look at the showings per listing. These are also on a decline. Very few showings are scheduled. This is based on showing time. So when I have this information in front of me and I'm scripted when I make that phone call, I already established that I'm a very data-driven, research-driven type of person. And a lot of times that makes me not the bad guy. It's the data that the market is kind of reflecting what's going on. And I'll use the slides that are to my advantage that I can convince them to take a meeting or take a price reduction with myself. Okay. Because maybe the last agent wasn't really consulting them well. So do this. If you're needing some activity and income right now, work expires. That's the best source to get yourself a listing, have an opportunity to talk to a client. And some of these people never reduce their price. This is where you come in and properly consult them about the market price right now. Okay. And it probably will be a lower price in order to, if they really have to get it sold. Now, if you're looking for buyers, that is also a great opportunity. Why? Because buyers are the ones that are turning into the premium for the next year. Because it's a slower season and a market, buyers will be a very active source of easier deals. So I would transition your business to find buyers. And this is the script I would teach you right now. One, you could build a platform online, social media, put some advertisements out, social media ads or posts saying something to this effect. The market is extremely slow right now. Properties are going on sale and on clearance. So this is actually the best time to buy with me. Not only do you have less competition writing offers, you're not having multiple offer situations. Number two, I can help you, depending on your area, help you get financing at 3.79% with my Direct Eagle. See, I'm using the same thing and I can use it for both sides, guys. If you can qualify with me and my lender with this program, we can buy properties at a huge discount on the sales price, and I can get you the rates under 4% because the lenders and the people that I use are very reputable, big banks. And lastly, just want to let you know, by saving 3% on the interest rates, that increases your buying power triple fold. Let me explain to you how, and I'm going to elaborate and give you an example. So if you're sticking with me, I want to show you something called a kind of like a financial calculator to explain what I mean, right? So let's just take our prior example. We were looking at a property and I'll just choose my beautiful, lovely listing because my listing right here, I'm trying to get some exposure. And this property right here is $1,060,000 in Arcadia called 2870 Weidermeyer Avenue, Arcadia. This is something that I need to communicate, you need to communicate out to clients, and let's go ahead and explain what we can do to show them, not just kind of say something. It's better to give it to them with figures. So what should we do? Let's go to a financial mortgage calculator. All right. And then I'm just going to go ahead and pick the most standard terms. Let's say my example is $1,060,000 for this property. Down payment is going to be 20%. So the loan amount is about 848,000. Most people right now should be qualifying around 6.7%. Okay, because the rates have kind of come down a little bit recently. So good. 6.7, 30 years, blah, 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 blah. Property tax. Let's just zero out all of these items. Okay. And I'm going to, why do they make me put this in? Because I'm not going to factor the property tax, PMI, and insurance right now. I want to strictly look at the payment. Okay. So striking these out because PMI, property tax, all that stuff, HOAs, that's all the same. So let's compare. Okay. Oh no, this is giving me. All right, now this works. Using my 1,060,000 with 20% down, the loan amount is 848,000 and a 6.7% interest rate. So what I would show them is that, look, you're saying $212,000 down payment. That's not changing from my lender versus your lender who's giving you 6.7%. Okay. Your annual payment is breaking up to be 65,000 and $5,472 per month. Correct? This is exactly the straight line formula. You're going to pay this 5471 every single month for 30 years and a total of $1.9 million you're spending to buy my $1,060,000 home. You're paying almost double of this. Now, if I can introduce you to my program, the same home value, same down payment, same loan amount, let's see how this difference when I get you under 3.79%. Okay. Now, changing nothing else, let's calculate this. Remember, their monthly payment was $5,471. When I push calculate, that becomes $3,946. Okay. Their total payment now is only 1.4 million versus almost $2 million that they were paying in the end of the 36 years. Why pay $500,000 for nothing? Okay. This is how you're going to be able to qualify because it's okay to pay that price, full price, or close to the full price, if your interest rate is with me as your buyer's agent. I can get you qualified at a much better rate at 39.46. This, in fact, if you're saying $212,000, you can probably even buy $1,200,000 home and have the payment of the 5,500 that you were getting with your lender. We can get more bang for your buck and buy a larger home. That's if you simply improve your interest rate. Okay. But having an extra $1,600 a month in your pocket every month, that makes a considerable difference over time. You can see that here, right? Just having apples to apples comparisons of what their rate or pre-approval letter says versus what you're offering will truly not make you not a salesman where you're forcing a product down their throat. You're going to introduce to them where they're going to be excited to follow up, call, and get a better pre-approval with you. Okay. So that is exciting to me. If I was actively a potential buyer right now, and I was already preparing for a $5,472 payment for $1 million home, if I can get that same home for less than 4,000 payment, that's $1,500 extra every month in my pocket. I would be jumping for joy. I'd be calling. I'd be learning more. Wouldn't you? That's a big difference. So introduce, talk about it. And I think this will get some excitement into being a buyer in today's market when everything's on sale. Prices are starting to discount, and half the homes are actually doing a price reduction. Number three, no competition. I already said no competition. Number three, there's rising inventory. So you have a lot of choices versus last year. There was no choices. You saw something and it's probably gone by before the time you made time to see it because things were selling in the first 5 days. Here we can take our time. We have not less pressure. We will get counter offers that are more reasonable and not so, pressure. Remove your contingencies in 5 days or remove it up front. We're not in that environment. So buying today is a lot more convenient. It's a little bit less hassle-free. It's less stressful. And I can give you more and more reasons why it's actually okay to buy right now, despite high interest rates. Because the Fed has already announced that the signs and corrections of what they're doing to tighten the monetary supply is working. They're probably just in December going to do a 50 basis rate hike, and that's it. The next year, it should kind of what's called hold for a little bit and then start to climb down to more attractive levels. So I would talk and convince a buyer today, telling them, even if you do pay and use your lender, that's 6.75% interest rate, that's fine. Because the rates will be attractive in a year or two. You can always refinance, and you've made your high payments only for 12 to 24 months. So after that, you're going to be able to refinance and find a nice time that you are happy with the new rates in a couple of years. Okay. So to me, that's where you'll get a lot of excitement when you go out this holiday season and you talk to buyers. Share this stuff. When you talk to sellers who potentially are on the fence or trying or just like, I'm going to remove it and wait till next year, keep engagement with them. Can I call you back? I know you don't want to sell in the holidays. It's slow. I get you. May I have your permission to call you in January? I'd love to re-engage when the market is when shopping starts again for next year, because the rates will be more attractive next year, and I want to be committed to you to get this sold. Okay. So that's my tips for you in the next month. These are a great idea to go out and have a conversation. If you don't try, you're not going to get any results. But if you are going to go out there and try to get some business because you need to, these are the scripts and the ideas behind how to get that appointment and separate yourself from the rest of the realtors that are calling and expired and saying, hey, I noticed you're expired seller. Hey, my company is better. We do this and this. Can I get an appointment and sell your property and relist it? And don't have that same script. So I think you got to sound differently, or since it is your territory that you're working, door knock it, have a face-to-face conversation, and pick out the ones that you're willing to go out and drive to. Pick 5 of them a week and go out there. I guarantee you, if you do this every week and you just look at those 5 and you door knock and call a 5 a week, you should have 2 listings by the end of the month. Okay. If you're not doing it, then you're letting yourself down. And to me, a lot of this practice will make you better. Jung, I hope that answered some of your questions regarding getting some activity. Jung, you have any questions on today's class?
No, not Yeah, that's pretty thorough. Thank you.
Okay. If you're gonna do this stuff, I'll be happy to entertain a script practice with you. I'll throw some weird questions at you and see how you challenge you, so I can give you some ideas on how to overcome handling objections. But I think this scripts should work in getting you in your foot in the door. Again, if they say no, that's fine. You know,
Mm.
there's no harm, no foul. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Thank you for the
and
offer.
lastly, I have to add this. You you have to scrub your calling list with the do not call list registry. So try to avoid, or someone ask you, I'm on the do not call list, just apologize oh, I'm so sorry. I did not know that you were on the do not call list. I did try to scrub the list. You won't get any more calls from me. And just apologize and don't give them your name and number again. Just politely hang up somehow. Okay. All right. Thanks for being here with me, and thanks for spending the hour, John. Hopefully your contractor came by now.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, waiting 15 minutes. I'll be here.
Okay. Take care.
All right. Thank you.